Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera sobat Warta Kota. Now we will discuss about the war between Russia and Ukraine. Today is the 30 and 50 days of the war, and how is the current conditions in there. So we have Alim Aliev. He is a Deputy Director General of Ukraine Institute and also a journalist, human rights activist, researchers and manager of the educational and cultural project. Good morning, Mr. Alim.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. And we also have Mr. Fasil Hamyanin. He is ambassador of Ukraine for Indonesia. Good morning, Mr. Fasil.
Selamat siang.
Selamat siang. Okay. So today is the 30 and 50 days of the war. You can describe about the current condition in there of the war.
Yeah, today it's 350 days of full-scale invasion by Russia to Ukraine, and but I want to remind that this war started 9 years ago from the temporary occupation of Crimea in February 2014. Yeah, I'm originally from Crimea. I'm originally Crimean Tatar, where indigenous Muslim population of Ukraine. Yeah, and today this war is essential war about values, on our values. Yeah, because it's war between values of dignity, multiculturalism, also democracy and freedom. And for Russia, for Russian side, these values, they not accept these values. Yeah, that's why also one more for Russian new empire. They think that Ukrainians and Russia it's one nation, and they name us like a little Russians. Yeah, and it's a totally imperialistic narrative that we have. That's why we say that this war it's anti-colonial war, and maybe later I will describe what I mean.
So about the imperial narrative that you said, what the meaning is that?
Yeah, when we say it about anti-colonial war, we say that first of all, Russia not needs our land. Yeah, because Russia is the biggest country in the world. But they try to destroy our identity. They, of course, try to kill us and try just destroy all of things that not fit into their paradigm and ideology. Yeah, and I just give an example how it started in Crimea. Yeah, first of all, I heard a lot that Russia is good friends of Muslims, but it's not true, because they start the invasion with the violation of Muslim population. They start to kill us, to torture us. A lot of Crimean Tatars now in a prison. They just banned our national institutions like a Majlis of Crimean Tatar people, is a national parliament. Yeah, they destroy our cultural heritage, and also they banned our Crimean Tatar language, etc., etc., etc. And now, when we see this, the whole situation in Ukraine, they do the same in the different territories of Ukraine. They burn Ukrainian books. They appropriate or destroy Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian history. They kill a lot of Ukrainians, and they made war crimes. You heard about city of Bucha, Irpin, Mariupol. It's in such cities we fix the acts of genocide of Ukrainian people, and we should talk about it loudly.
So in your opinion, the war is about religion sentiment or pure power struggle?
No, it's war. It's existential war about the state, about the right for Ukrainian people to be Ukrainians, the right of Ukrainian people to choose our own future. It's the right to choose our freedom, and it's not the war, between NATO and Russia. No, it's war between freedom, and freedom is between past and future.
So it's not about religion sentiment or also not about power struggle, right?
When we talked about religion, also, yeah, they violated different kinds of religion. They violated Ukrainian church, they violated Ukrainian Muslims, they violated different kinds and other religions and people who pray in different religions. Yeah, but it's only one part of violation. What they do, our life, when we talk about war, about the principles of war, it means that we have war between one army and another army. But in our case, it's war between Russian army and all of Ukrainian people and population, not only Ukrainian army, Ukrainian civilians. For today, 1/3 all of Ukrainian population displaced. It means that we have millions of refugees that displaced in different countries of Europe, and not only Europe, Turkey, for example, but also we have internal displaced people who moved from temporary occupied territories to the free territories of Ukraine. Russia also launched their rockets, their missiles, bombs to civil infrastructure. Only today, 550 cultural objects were destroyed by Russia. It's I talked about universities, I talk about museums, I talk about schools, I talk about, for example, also hospitals, theaters, etc., etc., etc. They destroyed civil infrastructure, and we should talk about it.
Okay. Besides the infrastructure, is there any impact of the war? Maybe about the education or social or maybe health service?
Of course, of course. When, for example, first impact when we talked about destroying infrastructure, destroying hospitals, destroying schools. Now, how students study, it's in hybrid way. Most of all online, in schools or in university, but sometimes it's we can study offline. But in every Ukrainian, the most popular application in our phones, that name Alarm. Because when Russia launched their missiles or something or rockets, we have this alarm, and it means that everyday life is stopped.
Airstrike alarm.
Airstrike alarm, and you should go to the basement of your house because this house can be bombarded by Russia, and be at that basement 1 hour, 4 hours, even 5 hours. And it means that it's of course influenced to the people, but Ukraine's people are really the people who struggle, who fight, because it's our land and it's about us.
So how many buildings that was broke by Russia? The hospital and then the school and the other health services?
Well, if you're asking me, well, the statistics differs, but we're talking about tens of thousands of destroyed objects. And if we talk about some cities like Mariupol, like Izium, like Lysychansk, like Horlivka, etc., these towns and cities destroyed to the ground, like 95% of destruction. And the majority of those towns and villages destroyed cannot be rebuilt or anymore, because it's just destroyed to the ground totally. It's a great devastation. Maybe I don't know if it would be correct to do this, but we taking this opportunity, I would like to express the condolences to the people of Turkey, because these are brothers to us, and they require sympathy and help. What I wanted to say? Did you watch the pictures of Turkish cities destroyed by the earthquake?
Yeah, I just saw in social
news.
media.
Yeah, somewhere in the you
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
the pictures. So these pictures reminded me of Mariupol. Mariupol looks exactly like that. Exactly, just destroyed. But not by the earthquake, but by Russian missiles and artillery. Destroyed. You cannot rebuild it. It will take years and maybe decades to do something. Because when you have the city and town with everything destroyed, all the communications, water supplies, like electricity, all the residentials, all the schools, in some places you can clean up and rebuild, but in some villages and some towns, even not worth doing this. No renovation, just cleaning to the ground and rebuilding again. That's it. So, I just said a few words about the reasons for this war. Russian task and purpose in this war is to challenge and destroy the world order by attacking Ukraine and by occupying Ukraine. For Ukrainians, it's just a matter of survival. If we stop fighting, we will die, all of us. If we fight, we will win. And that's also the inevitability.
We
for
have
this.
another choice.
No other chance,
No
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 other
other option.
No.
Yeah, I'm interested about the building of school that broke by Russian. So, how many students that be a victim that they cannot be studying because their school was broken?
If we just look to the situation in Ukraine, educational situation, we talked about a lot of students now volunteering also. Like in our society we have two groups, main groups. One group in Ukraine army, even civilians who before 2022 February 2022 was representatives of different kinds of professions, and now they're serving in army. And one more group, it's volunteers. Whole of Ukraine society are volunteering to the army, to this win, our win. And also we should say it about students, about children, because Russia kidnapped children from the temporarily occupied territory and deported them to the Russia. It's thousands and thousands such cases. Today in Ukraine, a lot of human rights organizations, a lot of human rights coalitions monitor and fix the war crimes and the violations against humanity. And such crimes as kidnapping and deportation, it's one of only the top of iceberg. Also, we should talk about torture of people, because Russia, in the temporarily occupied territory, made the torture camps and also filtrated camps, like Nazi Germany during the Second World War.
Okay.
I just add something to this. You ask how many students were affected.
Yeah.
Alim just mentioned that 1/3 of our population is like 15 million people displaced. Imagine that in Indonesia, 100 million people, 100 juta orang, just change the place because they have to. They have to run into other places.
100 million is all people or just the student?
No, like all people.
All people.
But out of these people, a lot of people are pupils, murid-murid, dan mahasiswa. Of course, so we're talking about the millions of people, millions of students affected. I mean, students plus pupils, millions of them. Let's figure.
So, if we talk about the victim, how many victims that they already died because the war, and how many that until now they still live, and how their condition?
The the total number we'll know after our victory, but for today the war is continue, and it means that international organizations, Ukraine's organizations, cannot account all of victims of this war. But for today, we can say about thousands and thousands victims who died, who tortured. For example, in Izium, it's a city in the eastern part of Ukraine. After the occupation, human rights organizations fixed a lot of mass graves of people who tortured, and it was just civilians, not Ukraine army or military. Military also as a victims, but first of all we talk about civilian population, and such graves also founded for different and other parts of Ukraine.
I add to this, if I may.
Yeah.
We are talking about the territories under occupation. For example, Mariupol. I don't have the statistics because it's occupied. But Mariupol was 500,000 citizens living there. Yeah. So it's 500,000 orang. Yeah. Now it's 10,000. Is 10,000. So some people left Mariupol, some people were deported to Russia, and some people died. We don't know, but it's definitely tens of thousands of people killed, civilians. How we know this? Mariupol, we could see from the satellite the city cemetery when people are buried after they're dead. Now, the city cemetery in few months grown like big territories added all of a sudden. So it's tens of thousands of people dead and buried there, unknown. It's only one example. So we are talking about huge numbers. Huge numbers.
So if you talk about the people was deported by Russia, how many people that deported by Russia?
For today it's I should check it, but it's near 100,000 people.
No. This is also, we're talking about the people.
Yeah.
It's over 1 million.
1 million.
And the children will count up to 100,000.
We said about children.
Yeah. In total, it's over a million.
Okay. So we talk about the G20 presidential. We know that the G20 presidential is talk about stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. Is there any impact from the G20 presidential to that war?
Maybe Ambassador will start because it's from the political issue, and I'll give some human dimension.
Okay, I will say this. First of all, we're grateful for Indonesian presidency for the efforts they paid, especially to build up and write and approve the declaration of G20 summit. As for the practical point, I would say that discussion is very important and it's the beginning. But after discussion, we have to take practical steps to do something. maybe we have to create the task force, maybe we have to create the working group, maybe we have to take very concrete steps of how to end the war. Because if we just discuss the issue, it will not be resolved in any manner. That's why what is important and why I'm grateful to the President Joko Widodo, Yang Mulia, President Joko Widodo, that he gave the opportunity to my president to speak in front of the world leaders. And it's crucial that my president presented the peace formula for Ukraine and for the world, for any other conflicts and wars. And this peace formula is very concrete, very practical, and we invite all the countries who support democracy, humanity, human rights, rule of law, justice, to join the process of discussion and contributing to this peace formula. We invited all the countries of the goodwill globally. So please join.
And also, Indonesia, one of the is the biggest Muslim country, and it's one of the most powerful country in the world. And when Indonesian society, when Indonesian leaders raise the topic of Russian invasion to Ukraine, raise the topic of violation of human rights by Russia in Ukraine, tortured Muslim population, it's very supportive for us, very crucial for us. And such platforms as G20, it's also about it. That's why we just call to all of free people who share our values of democracy and equality to raise the voice of supporting Ukrainian people.
So today is the 350 days of the war, and in your prediction, how long the war will continue?
We really want peace. We really want the finishing of war, because every day the best people, citizens of our country died during this war. If for Russians the value, human value is not necessary, for us it's the huge value of every human who live in Ukraine. But what means end of war? It means that a last Russian soldier should just leave Ukraine territory. And also I talk about temporary occupation territory of Crimea and Donetsk and Lugansk regions. And also we start to make an international tribunal on war crimes issues. And for us it's important that Russian society take responsible for these crimes. So after that we will say it about the end of war. I hope it will be at the end of this year or in the beginning of the next year.
Okay. If you talk about the responsibility, when the war is end, what will you ask to Russia?
As Ali mentioned already, it will be a straightforward process of justice. Justice must prevail, we think. For many people, it's not clear what is justice. I may make as I always make such an example. Just imagine there is a house and someone living in this house, big family. So someone, robbers and burglars, break into the house, start killing family, start burning the house, destroying everybody. So the master of the house have two choices. One, turn around and run, just leave the house and doom everybody in this house to death, and just give up the house for the burglars. And second, to fight and make them leave, because they cannot live together in one house, because these are the murderers and rapists and looters. So Ukrainians have chosen to fight. And after the end of the war, it will be like, okay, as a historian, I invite everybody who watches this to check the results of the Second World War. How it ended, what happened then, the tribunal against the war criminals, and then reparations, and then compensations, which last till now. The generations of Germans who were born long after the war were paying to the victims of the Second World War, paying to the victims of the fascism. So Russians will be going on the same scenario. The generations of Russians will be ashamed and will be paying reparations and compensations to the, well, it cannot be compensated. Lives cannot be rebuilt, right? We can rebuild the country, we cannot rebuild the human killed in this process. But it will be moral compensation and material compensation for all the pains we experiencing now. And it will be for generations. It's definitely. I'm no doubt about that.
So, Mr. Alim, will you say?
I will just add that we definitely will win, because it's about our existential. And we not divide the countries who support us to the NATO countries, Western countries, Eastern countries, Southern countries, etc., etc., etc. We divide countries who share and support our values, and who just violate such values of democracy and dignity. It's essential for us. That's why we ask all of democratic countries, and Indonesia, one of the leading democratic countries, also to support Ukraine people in this struggle.
Of course, we together all hope about the war will end soon. I mean, I hope the war end this year, and we believe that we should live in peace together and no war again, right? Thank you, Mr. Fasil, for your time, and thank you, Mr. Alim, for your time about this great discussion.
Thank you.
Merdeka atau mati.
Tribuners and Sobat Warta Kota, that's all our discussions. The important things is we all together hope the war ends soon and we should live in peace. Thank you.